This one is a rough one, guys. Hey guys, I'm the Great Jedi and welcome back to the channel for another Star Wars news update video. Now today, we've got some important but bad news, as you can see by the title and thumbnail, and this whole situation is just a mess. Oh, it's so bad. But let's just jump right into it. Zynga, the studio behind Star Wars Hunters, just announced the official death of the game. This is what they said. Dear Hunters, thank you for your incredible support and for being part of the world Vespara. After careful consideration, we want to let you know that the final content update for Star Wars Hunters on all platforms will be on April 15th. The game will remain playable until October 1st, 2025, when the game's online servers will shut down and will no longer be playable beyond this point. We understand this news may be disappointing and want to assure you that this decision was not made lightly. Your passion and dedication to the game and its community have meant the world to us, and we are committed to providing visibility and updates throughout the transition process. On March 25th, Season 5 will be extended by 3 weeks. We will rerun events and shop bundles from the season, and the rank season will also be extended, giving players more time to hit Kyber 1 rank. And on April 15th, 2025, the final content update will be released for free, and in-game purchases will be disabled across all platforms. New support hunter Tura will join the battle as part of the final update. Tuya will be available and playable for all users immediately at no cost, along with a slate of additional in-game content. We will continue to run a final ranked mode leaderboard for players to compete in and run all battlefields and game modes in rotation. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey and for the time you've spent playing Star Wars Hunters. Now, since this news, a lot of people have been asking about refunds, and they said that there won't be any refunds, and that includes anything from Season 5 or any prior seasons, or even crystals if you bought those. So if you already spent money on crystals, I would spend them so that way you can enjoy them for the next few months before the game gets killed. They also confirmed that limited time modes will continue to run, but the PC launch of the game is officially canceled, meaning the game will never make it to PC, which really sucks to hear. I mean, if the game's already done and you already have a playable build on PC, just release it. Who cares if it's not perfect at this point? Just release what you got. I'm sure some people would like to give it a try. I mean, I'd play on PC, but there you guys have it. It's really unfortunate that this game will only have one more season, won't be coming to PC, and will no longer be playable after September. Oh man, this whole situation is just so messed up. The game is literally still in its first year. I really do just want to break down this whole situation, but before I do, let's talk about the plan for the channel in regards to Star Wars Hunters content now. So, I really want to get into this game. You know, I wanted to make a bunch of content on it, including streams where I just grind out the hero progression and level things up, but was waiting for this PC launch, which is no longer happening. So, instead of me not covering Hunters and just giving up on it, I'm going to cover it like I still originally planned to, even though it's dying. So you can just expect me to get really involved with it once this last season comes out, which actually works perfectly since it releases during stream month. So I'll be streaming the game a lot and making videos that include reviews, tips and tricks, hunter guides, and the like. And the goal is to put a priority on all that content to get it out sooner rather than later. So I'd expect a lot of hunter streams once the new season releases on April 15th. And the videos after stream month, that being May and into June and possibly July. So if you're wanting any Star Wars Hunters content at all, this is your time to let me know what you'd like to see from me in the comments down below, or let me know in the comments of the Hunter streams during stream month. Now that you guys know what to expect on the channel and that I'll still be covering all things Star Wars Hunters, let's look at the whole picture and really break down this whole situation, or at least as much of it as we know, to possibly see why this game got cancelled and really see what could have changed for the better. Not to play a game of what ifs, but for people to learn something from this whole experience so we can keep moving forward. I think it's important enough to talk about all this to learn from this failure and hopefully prevent something like this happening to another studio in the future, because the reality is no one likes this type of stuff happening. The devs don't want this to be happening, us players don't want it to be happening, and we already know that the whole stinking Star Wars gaming community doesn't need another loss right now. And I do see two different points of view to this, where there's the developer side and then you've got the player side, and I do want to touch on both, but in order to do that, we've got to start from the very beginning. So let's start looking at this like a player first. The game was first announced back in early 2021 with a teaser trailer saying that it would be released later that year. Then the game faced multiple delays, pushing the release back to 2022, then to 2023, and then finally releasing in May of 2024. Now, I don't care about delays. Well, actually I do. I just meant to say that I'm okay with delays as long as the launch product is good. I just want them to get it right and for them to make a quality game that all of us want to play. And I'd say most of us agree with that line of thinking. But during this time of continuous delays, they would release DLC content to the game, adding more and more hunters, maps, and even limited time game modes, if you could believe that, all before the game was even launched. They even put out videos on their YouTube channel showing off the new additions to the game, but never releasing it to the public. There were only specific playtesters that went through some hoops that were able to play it. Now, as a player, that is incredibly frustrating. I feel like that shouldn't have been the case at all. They should have just released it once the game was in good shape and didn't have all the game-breaking bugs. And honestly, they didn't need all those extra hunters at launch. If they did it that way, there's a possibility that way more people would have known about it and played the game more. Then they could have been in a position where they could have just added more seasons instead of delaying the game, and we could have had a live service game since 2022, and it would be on its third year of content, possibly even after that first delay. But that just leads me to the other point of view, the development side. Now, I'm not on their team, so I can't say for sure. This is just speculation, but this is a possibility. And my main thought is, why would they delay the game 3 years, not making money after the base game is basically finished, when they are still doing all the work by making new hunters, maps, and modes? It's like working 3 years for free when you could be getting paid. Like, there's more to the picture than what we're seeing. Now, I understand that they're still getting paid, obviously, but for those that are working on the game and have a passion for the project, they know that in order for them to continue working on the game does need to generate a profit. So they decided to not focus on fixing the main issues with the game and getting it out and then work on the DLC after, but rather decided to add, quote, new DLC content before the game even launched. So I think it's a possibility that the developers may have just used those 3 years as insurance to work on their passion project. Now, I could be way off, but either way, this isn't normal for games. So what I mean by insurance is that if the game hasn't officially launched, then they don't have to report any earnings because there are none. The game isn't out. So that means that the higher ups see it as being in development, which basically can give the devs more time to work on the game till the higher ups with authority give them an absolute deadline to release the game, or they pull the plug because it's costing too much money. So if that was the case, then the devs not releasing the game right away would be in their best interest, because they can spend all that time making the game better, marketing it, and just working on their passion projects without the risk of the higher ups pulling the plug if it doesn't perform. For example, if they did launch it in 2021 like they originally planned and it failed, not bringing in the profits, the higher ups would pull the plug and the devs wouldn't even be able to work on the game anymore. I mean, if we look at the situation now with all the content it does have, and it didn't even last a year, from the developer's point of view, do you think it would have succeeded even to 2023? Probably not. So if I had to guess, they probably used all their extensions that the higher ups would give them before the launch to add as much content to the game as possible to give it the best shot of survival, and really the longest time to work on the game. And that leaves us with the question, how should studios go about something like this in the future? And like I said, this is just speculation and me just trying to put pieces of the puzzle together with my limited knowledge on the situation. but I do believe that if the game was released earlier or announced later, then the hype wouldn't have died off so much, because I know that was a big turnoff for me, especially when they were announcing all the DLC content that I couldn't play, and that maybe if it came to all platforms, then it would have stood a better shot. And I know that was really requested, and they know that. And I know that's not their specialty, but they did go through the effort getting it on the Switch and even PC, kinda. So maybe it would have been in their best interest to try and get it to console for a better shot of survival. I'm not saying that they made the wrong decision, because it all depends on context and there's a lot of different factors. But if what I mentioned before about the devs' point of view is the actual case, then they did what they could. Although, one thing I would have at least tried to do is put the game in open beta instead of delaying the launch and adding a bunch of content no one could play. That way you can say that the game isn't fully launched yet and we're getting feedback from players, all while people are still able to play the content you put out. And then if that doesn't end up working, then you can just close the beta. I mean, that's not anything new. Games do this all the time. I've seen games even be in open beta for like 10 plus years. It's crazy. But one thing I do want to say is that ever since the launch of the game, I thought they did a pretty good job of delivering content each season with like a new hunter, a new map, balance changes, events, limited time modes, new skins, and much more. I really did have fun with the little bit of time I did get to play, and I still plan to, so it really does stink that the game is getting canceled. Now, moving away from the main news of Star Wars Hunters and onto some brighter news, we have some new information on the KOTOR Remake and EA's Reactor strategy game, or rather news about news. Don't we love that? So, for the KOTOR Remake, we've got some reassurance that it is still in the works and is not canceled. So, for those that don't know, Tim is the Chief Creative Officer at Saber Interactive, which is the company behind this KOTOR Remake, and he said that Saber Interactive is one of the largest independent developers in the world. We are working on numerous games across many different genres. Everything we have talked about is still in development. We will share information on upcoming games when we have something cool to share. And that includes the KOTOR Remake, which is a nice update for him to give us, since we know that there's been a lot of things happening with the studio over the years. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, Embracer Group acquired Saber Interactive for over $500 million back in early 2020, but now the co-founder of Saber Interactive got the rights back from Embracer Group. So even though the business side of these studios have been through some ups and downs and just a change in hands, which typically has an impact on development, it's nice to know that the game isn't canceled and is still in development. It also seems that the dev team working on this game is super passionate about making this a reality, and I really hope that ends up being the case. Now, as for the Star Wars strategy game that is being made by Reactor, we can officially expect to get our first look at the game at Star Wars Celebration on April 19th. And while we're on the topic of Star Wars Celebration, I wanted to let you guys know that we'll also get our first look at Star Wars Vision Season 3, as well as a bunch of other stuff. And for those that don't know when Star Wars Celebration takes place, it is in Japan this time around from April 18th to April 20th. And I won't be going, but I will still be covering as much as I can for you guys from home. Now, for those that are going and are interested in all the panel information, the link to all that good stuff is in the description with all the other sources as always, and I hope you guys have fun. Now, if you're not going, you don't need to worry about any of that because I'll be covering everything on the channel. And speaking of things I'll be covering on the channel, I also wanted to give you guys a little update letting you guys know that I'm working on a Battlefront 2 Kyber video that will soon be out on the channel, so stay tuned for that because there's a lot of great content and news happening over there. But that's going to do it for this Star Wars news update video. Let me know what you guys think about all this news in the comment section down below. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it informative. And if you did and are interested in staying caught up with all Star Wars news, please consider liking the video, subscribing if you're new around here, and hitting that notifications bell down below so you never miss a video or live stream. Also, if for whatever reason you're still here and you didn't like the video, then please feel free to dislike it and give me any constructive criticism for me on how to make these videos better. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, LBA all the way, and may the Force be with you always.